So we need to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 spoiler review. And sorry it took so long for this to come out. I've just been waiting for everyone to get a chance to see it. And again, since seeing it all the way back in May, I still think this is a perfect movie, a perfect trilogy, and a perfect way to end the Guardian story. But most of all, I think that this is a perfect movie about Rocket. Because again, we get bits and pieces throughout their trilogy and even a bit of the MCU as a whole about Rocket. Because we see all the way back in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 how they're setting up to protect the Anulax batteries, and we see the Rocket setting up music, and he says it's because it's what Peter would want. But even Peter says that no, the mission's more important, and we sort of understand that it's Rocket's choice, own personal choice, to want to hear music. And then we get to Endgame, where they're setting up the time machine, and we see Tony Stark working and Thor working, but Rocket's the main one on the machine. And we hear music playing in the background. And again, we think it's mainly Tony maybe picking the music or even Thor, but it's Rocket that's working on the machine and is there the whole time, so it would make more sense if he picked the music, which again, good touch. And then we jump to Guardian 3 and we see that Rocket sort of become, I guess, more of a DJ for the Zune, playing the musics and picking most of them throughout the movie. And he's even left the Zune by Peter. And I just love that we see his progression of his love of music throughout. And again, it was just a good movie, a perfect way to end the Guardian story. And I really liked the introduction of Lila, Floor, and Teves. And again, it was nice seeing them, even though we knew where it was going to end with them. And even getting there, even knowing what was going to happen, it was still enjoyable, even getting to see Rocket's interaction with his first family. Because they really were his first family. And then when we get to the part where Lila gets shot and then Teves and Floor, it's heartbreaking, but again, even though we knew it was gonna happen, it was still heartbreaking to see it happen. And then as Rocket's dying on the operating table, we see that when he's going to die, that instead of seeing the Guardians, he sees his first family, which is again Lila, Teves, and Floor. And I think that was a beautiful touch. That got me. It was really heartfelt and I liked it. And again, it was just a good, perfect movie. And any small bits or pieces that people have problems with, they sort of explained away. And I like that. Because again, when they introduce Adam Warlock, we see that he's all serious, going straight for Rocket. And we see that the Sovereign were created by the High Evolutionary, and that's their main reason for having Adam Warlock there. But then we also see Adam's mostly a child, and they even explain that the High Evolutionary unplugged him from stasis when he was still maturing. And so when people are saying like he acts like a child, it's because he is a child. And again, if there's anything I want to say, it's just concerns about the future for the Guardians because, again, even at the end of the movie, after Rocket's become captain, which I love, after the Guardians have gone their own separate ways, we see that Peter ends up back on Earth with his grandpa. And then the credits roll, and we see that the legendary Star-Lord will return. And again, to me, a perfect way to end the trilogy and a perfect way to end the Guardian story. But if they do bring Peter back for a solo movie or even in an MCU show or project, I would really like to see it, but directed by James Gunn. Because I feel like I'm not the only one, but Infinity War and Endgame and Thor Love and Thunder were good, but when we saw the Guardians, it just didn't feel like them. Peter even apologized in this movie for being selfish and punching Thanos in the face as they're getting the gauntlet off, and him being the main reason why Thanos is able to leave and snap and wipe off half of humanity, half of the population. And that just didn't feel like him. Not the apology, but his actions in Infinity War. Because we've seen in the past that he's able to put the needs of the many against his own needs. And yes, Thanos says that he killed Gamora and all that, but I feel like Edith and Peter would have waited until they got the gauntlet off, and then yes, feel free to punch away at him. But not as it's getting to the most crucial part where we know the stakes. Peter knows what will happen if he gets all the Infinity Stones, if he keeps the gauntlet. So again, it just didn't feel like him to just put his own selfishness in front of the rest of the rest of the population. And I just didn't feel good with that. And then again, Thor Love and Thunder, we see the Guardians, but we only see them for 3 minutes. And if you take them out of the movie, it really doesn't impact the movie as a whole. And I feel like they were just there to get tickets sold and get people in the movie. Which again, I guess that's okay, but also, if you're gonna have the Guardians, maybe have them come in one more time, have them meet with Thor at the end and be like, oh hey, I'm glad you took care of that, and we also had our own little mini adventure. We don't have to see it, but just acknowledge that they were part of the movie because they get their few minutes in the beginning, and we never hear from them again. They never even acknowledge what happened in Thor Love and Thunder in the third movie. So again, it was just one of the things that ticked me off about the movie. It was, again, good movie, Thor Love and Thunder, but if you're gonna have the Guardians, have them. Don't just have them in the opening and then throw them away. So again, if they do decide to do any more Guardians projects or Peter Quill projects or just any Guardians in general, they need to have James Gunn as director or just as a consultant. Because with him, the Guardians felt like a family to me. Because he knew how they needed to be written, treated, and the respect they needed to be given. And again, that's pretty much all I have to say is great, perfect movie. A perfect movie about Rocket, about the Guardians. A perfect trilogy about the Guardians. And the perfect way to send them off. And if we do get a Peter solo movie or a Guardians 4, go for it. But make there be a reason to be a Peter solo movie or a Guardians project. Have there be a reason. Don't just do it for the sake of money. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Again, perfect trilogy, perfect movie. And if you haven't got a chance to see it yet, I recommend you go see it because you will not be disappointed. And if there's anything I forgot to talk about, I apologize, but those were just my main thoughts about it. And again, just my own personal opinion about it. So again, if I forgot anything or if I got any details wrong, I do apologize, but again, just my own opinion.